Alex Sotiropoulos here with Maroons men's basketball coach Mike McGrath. Coach, there were two tough losses this weekend. NYU first this past Friday, beach night, 81-71. They got off to an 18-4 lead, and then you called this timeout. What did you tell your team during the timeout? Because it seemed like they started playing much better after that and cut the lead down to about 8 at halftime.
Yeah, I'm not one to give much credit to timeouts having much effect on how your team plays, but I just felt we had to refocus a little bit. We got really good shots for the most part when they went on the early run. We just didn't make them. I liked the shots we were getting. I liked the way we were playing offensively for the most part, and I liked the way we were playing defensively for the most part. If you look at that first stretch of points they got, a couple of them were bad offense off of turnovers, and a couple of them were shots they hit out of their offense. And we needed to get the offensive end taken care of to take those points away from us, because their half-court offense is hard enough to guard. We couldn't give them easy ones because we turned it over a little bit. And all we had to do was refocus, and more than anything in that timeout, I just tried to calm us down and say, hey, the shots will fall, we're getting good looks, but we need to ratchet up here defensively, and then let's not give them any easy looks by turning it over. And we did that.
Now, in the second half, they got off to another big run. What do you think attributed to that and to them ultimately winning?
Well, at some point there, you know, and this is the difference between a good team and an average team. If a good team gets feeling good about themselves, they're awfully hard to get under wraps. And that's where turnovers and transition started that process for NYU. And then they're a very good team. They're very, very good. I really like the way they interact and work together. I think they got a nice little rhythm going with one another. And I felt like, you know, once we let them get going, and once they got going, it was harder for us to get them on track, or keep them on track. I think if you play other teams, they can get off to a good start, but then you can kind of rein them in a little bit. And we just couldn't rein NYU in. I mean, they just got feeling good shooting the ball, and, you know, they're running their offense very well, and we were on our heels, and then that affected us offensively.
Now, Sunday against Brandeis, the score was 97-89 after overtime, but Brandeis won, but the score doesn't really tell the whole story of the game with what Matt Johnson did, how the game went to overtime. Can you tell me first off your reaction to the first half? You guys got off to a 9-0 lead, but then Brandeis came back and did some things with their own.
And, you know, I thought we, like NYU did on Friday, got some easy looks early that got us going a little bit. You know, 9-0 versus 18-4, not quite as good a run jump. But then we just let them, they got some tough kids, and they got some kids that are hard for us to guard. And we just didn't contain them enough, the way we were capable of, to take advantage of the way we were playing offensively. And then once the second half hit, I think that's where that started. Now, you know, part of that was they missed some shots that they can make, but part of it I thought we continued to get good shots and make a lot of them, and some threes in there. And I just thought we kind of, you know, took control of things a little bit, to the point where with 4 minutes to go we have a 12-point lead, and I'm feeling good. You're always nervous. And, you know, the last 4 minutes were, you know, as I look at it on tape, it wasn't anything dramatic. There were a couple turnovers in there that hurt us against their pressure. They made every shot they took in that stretch, but we gave them a couple easier ones. They didn't have to work for every one of them. And when we got the lead, they had to work for every one of them. And so they made a higher percentage. We missed a couple free throws in there, and it just kind of slipped away to the point where, you know, we have the ball with a 2-point lead and a timeout with 12 seconds to go. We don't get a very good look, and that was my responsibility. I misplayed that a little bit, and regrettably. But then as you go back, you know, it's a hell of a play on their part to send it to overtime with you know, they go 3/4 of the court in, you know, 3 seconds, and, you know, tip one in at the buzzer to send it to overtime. And it was frustrating, you know, and it was a combination of things, Alex. You know, I went into the locker room after the game, and it's been a long time. It's been a long, long time since I felt that way after a loss. Matter of fact, I can't remember the last one where I felt like we were really in control of things and let things slip away. And it was really painful, especially when you put Matt's effort into it. Coming out of Friday's game, I challenged some of our seniors to really just set a tone. set a tone with their own play, and I was excited. I was really excited about both games, about how our team would come, and we did a lot of really good things. So that loss hurt, both the way it happened and the time for when it happened.
And of course, what you're talking about with Matt Johnson's efforts is his 44 points that tied the all-time record for anybody in Chicago Maroon history in a game with these 44 points. Can you elaborate a little bit about that? How great you thought Matt played, and what attributed to his great performance?
Well, here's the thing that was really impressive about Matt. He was so efficient. I mean, he scored 44 points and took 20 shots. I mean, that's really remarkable. And then as you watch it, he's 13 of 20. And I'm pretty sure I can target every one of his misses, and I'm pretty sure every time he took one of those, I thought it was going in. You know, he has 2 threes in overtime that are just great shots that just hit the back of the rim and bounce out that are right there, which not only would have broken the record, but probably would have won the game, but you can't fault him. I mean, what Matt did and what Matt's developed a feel for it at times, which is really hard to do, is when to catch and shoot, when to shot fake, when to put it on the floor. And he was almost moving a step ahead of everybody else in his mind as he played that game. I grew up watching, Larry Bird play and Michael Jordan and Magic Johnson in one game. That's what those guys did. They knew when to attack, they knew when to shoot, they knew when to shot fake and pass on it, and Matt just did that perfectly. I mean, when he came off and had the shot, he caught and shot it. When a guy was, when it wasn't going to be there, and it's hard to know, you're flying off the screen and guys right on your shoulder, he stopped, shot fake, caught them in the air, took one dribble and hit the shot. And he was just so efficient, not just statistically, but in his choices, that it was one of the best games I've ever seen here.
Now, going into Friday, you guys play Emory here at home, 8 p.m., the Ratner Center, but Emory is now ranked 4th in the nation. They only have one loss, and that loss was to NYU. Mm-hmm. Can you tell me a little bit about the strategy going into this game, and specifically how Matt's feeling after his big performance?
Well, I think we were off on Monday, and I got together with Matt on USA after practice, and he was disappointed, and I understand that. And I don't think it was as much the fact that he scored so many points, but he really put his heart into that game in a lot of different ways, and a lot of our guys did, and the loss was really hard to take. We got to bounce back. We got to bounce back and compete. If we want to compete for the UA championship this year, we need to play well this weekend, and we need to get a win on Friday. And Emory's really good. They have in the history of the UA, they have in the 20 years I've been in the league, they have a very unique style. They play faster than anybody who's been in our league before. So it's kind of a change of pace. And they have very, very good shooters. And, for my money right now, they have the guy who's playing better, be the MVP of our league in Austin Claunch. And he's a tough matchup for any team. It's not an individual matchup. You have to kind of defend them as a team. And, if we can contain them, I feel like we're playing pretty well offensively right now. Even the NYU game where we don't shoot well, I think they felt challenged in terms of the shots we were getting. I think we're getting good shots that we can make, and we're going to score points. We have to limit our turnovers because they're going to pressure us, and we have to just contain the speed with which they try to score. The speed with which you score and they come right back at you is really pretty impressive. And it's a lot because of Austin, and we need to be ready for that.
And finally, what can you expect from Rochester on Sunday? Rochester had a great start to the beginning of the season. They were ranked in the top 25 in the nation by D3 Hoops at some point, but now they've got off to a sluggish start in the UAA. What can you expect from them?
And I wouldn't say sluggish. I would say they've had a hell of a schedule to start the UAA. I mean, they had to play, they lose a game they really could have won. Emory scores at the buzzer to beat them at home. They go play at Brandeis and at NYU and lose 2 really tough ones. The thing with the nature with our league that's so challenging is, any given year one team starts out and plays their first 3 at home, and the next year they play their first 3 on the road. And they had their first 3 on the road against 3 very good teams, and I think their record's a little deceiving. I haven't watched a lot of them. I watched them against Emory, preparing for Emory, so you kind of get a sense. They also have a great point guard, the player of the year in our league last year, John DeBartolomeo, who they don't play with the same speed. It's kind of a cross between what Emory does and what NYU does. They don't play with the same speed, but DeBartolomeo is incredibly efficient. He should shoot when he shoots. He should pass when he should passes. He drives when he should drive, and and then they surround him with some very good shooters and a couple good rebounders. And getting ready for them is something we'll definitely focus on after the game on Friday. But it'll be a big challenge.
And finally, given your 2-3 record now in the UAA, how important are both of these games to win? Because I know you've been saying throughout the entire year, the main goal is to win the UAA.
That's our goal every year, and we've been fortunate enough to be a program that's normally in that hunt, and we still are. 4 losses might win our league. 3, I think, definitely would. So, as you're looking with 9 left, obviously, we've dug ourselves a little bit of a hole. And it'll be interesting. We have some seniors, we have some guys who've been around, we have good talent. Our backs are against the wall, and, we got to come out clawing. Because the teams coming in here are playing for things, too, and they're going to be clawing. So.
Well, there you have it. Coach McGrath's take on the games last week and the ones looking ahead. Maroons open up Friday against Emory at 8 p.m. at the Rattler Center.